Mike Bond here in Las Vegas with Dustin Poirier ahead of UFC 246 Saturday night. Obviously, some very significant fights going on in the lightweight division. Somewhat welterweight, I guess. Conor McGregor and Cerrone technically aren't cutting weight, but it's pretty much a lightweight fight, just without cutting some weight. Just tell me, of course, you've fought Conor, and Cerrone's been a guy who's been in this division for a very long time. Tell me your thoughts on this fight. How do you see it unfolding on Saturday night?
I think I think Cowboy's ground game is really underrated. He showed it in the Mike Perry fight. He showed it in the Oliveira fight, the Brazilian Cowboy fight. Yeah. If he gets Conor down, Conor's going to be in trouble in the grappling department. I do believe that. But it's going to be tough to get Conor down. He's a great athlete, especially at 170. He's probably going to have a lot more explosive movements and hips. But on the other side, Conor is probably the biggest puncher around that weight class. Maybe not at 170, but definitely at 155. And Cowboy's been stopped his last two fights by strikers. So I just think if Conor lands flush and early, it's going to be over.
Yeah, and Donald keeps saying in the lead up to this fight, when people ask him, like, your jiu-jitsu is so much better, why don't you go do that? And he's like, I want to stand with this guy. I want to, prove to myself, like, none of you guys can tell me how I should fight. Like, I am going to go there, and I'm the only one who I need to prove something. Can you relate to that mentality at all? And, like, maybe, you have a strong avenue to victory on paper, but you want to test yourself against someone in a certain area. Like, is that something you can mentally align with, or are you always the person that would go in there and be like, okay, like, this is where my strengths lie over this guy, that's where I'm going to fight him?
I try to do that. I try to go in and use my strengths against their weaknesses for sure. That's the game plan. That's how you game plan to win fights, right? But for some reason, when it comes to striking, guys just want to swing their balls, man, and show who's tougher, We'll see, him versus Tony, him versus Gaethje, weren't good outcomes by standing in front of somebody. And Conor's a guy you cannot do that against.
For sure. So who do you think wins?
I think Conor stops him. I think Conor catches him early in the first two rounds and stops him with a left hand.
Yeah. And last thing, another fight on this card in the lightweight division, Anthony Pettis versus Diego Ferreira. I don't know if there's anyone in the world who could get better insight into this matchup than you. You beat both of these guys before, stopped them both. How do you see that fight unfolding between Pettis and Ferreira?
I'm excited about this matchup because these are two guys who have a lot of potential, right? Both of these guys are very good, very well-rounded too. But both have shown up and also underperformed. Right. It's just who shows up in the moment, on point, on time, ready to go. Both guys are incredible fighters, but I think it's going to come down to who's on point, who really wants it more, who's the bigger dog out there. And if I had to pick, I want to lean towards Pettis just with experience. It's Anthony Pettis, just with experience and the guys that he's fought compared to the guys that Diego's fought. I just think he has more experience in big fights like this.
Yeah, and how much does that really even come into play? I think Diego, the one thing that's in his favor is he's a pressure fighter, and we've seen guys who can really pressure Anthony. That's where he struggles the most. Do you think that's if Diego can apply that for 3 rounds, that's how he wins?
Yeah, if you can keep Anthony's back, it's a blueprint. I did it. I saw RDA do it. I saw Eddie do it. If you can put Anthony against the fence, keep him uncomfortable, keep him guessing about takedown defense, he makes mistakes there and doesn't strike as freely, right? When you kickbox with him and let him be comfortable, like Stephen Thompson did, he might catch you out there. He's crafty, he's fast, and he's gonna be there. Anthony, I don't think has ever been stopped by strikes. He's hard to submit, and those are two big weapons in Diego's game. Is just like you said, the pressure with his boxing, unorthodox throwing overhands and just kind of looping shots, and also his jiu-jitsu. And Anthony's strong in both of those places, so it's gonna be a dogfight, I think.
Sure, and you are out here in Las Vegas. I know you're doing some things around this event. Just anyone who may be watching this in the lead up to this fight, just tell us what you're doing out here and maybe where they could see you around town this week, and just plug anything you need to plug here.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm tomorrow, Saturday. I'm going to be at the Caesars Forum Shops and Robert Graham's store from 1 to 3, just hanging out, taking pictures. We're going to be giving away some signed stuff. And then when the main card starts, I'm going to be at the beer park and hosting a viewing party there. So come on through.
Perfect. Well, appreciate the time. Enjoyed the fights, and thank you for joining me tonight.
For sure, man. Thanks.